We are back again in Away the Hunter for some more Aurora Shores gameplay today, and this hunt is going to be all focused on the crossbow. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that there are supposedly going to be 2 crossbows with this update, and the only one that we can actually use is the lesser of the 2. I believe this actually comes with the update and not the DLC, so I want to say you'd be able to use this even if you don't purchase the Aurora Shores DLC, but there are a herd of Sitka deer out there. So we'll try to call them in with the rattle bag, and I really want to try to get that mature, but they're probably going to want to cross the bridge, so we got to get ourselves in position first. Now, for whatever reason, the only buck coming in is this 1-star young down here, but frankly, for this particular hunt, I don't think we're going to be too worried about what we actually shoot. Now, it says he's alerted, which is interesting, because unless it's just because he's that close, the rest of the herd certainly knows that we're here. And I'm thinking it's because of him, but we're not going to be on this beta save long enough for anything that we shoot to really matter. So we can be perfectly okay in taking things like 3-star matures, 1-star youngs, and just not having to worry about what they would be in the future. So as long as we keep on hitting this call, I think we're going to get a pretty nice close range shot to start with here. Already looking at right about 27 yards, so let's go ahead and get the crossbow ready to do that. We want a 0-4-27, and we'll just try to place this right, like, center of the chest. That's about where I would have wanted it, pink blood and all, and of course it's going to send the entire herd off. This is one thing that we discovered on stream, and had I really thought about it prior to getting on early access here, is that splash new? I've never seen an animal run through the water and splash before, but that was really pronounced. Anyway, because when one animal in a herd spooks, the entire herd goes, you won't be able to use the crossbow to, potentially take out an entire herd of bucks or get several animals from the same herd. Potentially if you drop them, but I don't even think that is going to be a thing. So it's mostly going to be for maybe not spooking other herds of animals nearby. But, I mean, from first glance there, pretty effective. That Sitka deer ran 75 yards or so. And we also got to see either a new animation or something I've never seen before. But in a somewhat fitting way, our first kill is a spike. We basically shot right into the center of the chest. I wonder what we actually, right along is the kill shot. Hit the artery, got a little of expansion damage on the heart. But I do think this is going to be the challenge. Because, I mean, maybe if we were on the same level as it, because we were above it, if we get that shot just right, I think we would hit the heart. But you'd really ideally want to be broadside, and that's just tough to do when you're calling something in. But 29%, again, doesn't really matter here on the beta what we end up with, but we'll sell that on the off chance we can get some other callers. I think we will grab the moose collar before we head out, and we'll see what else we can get with the crossbow. So while we're here, I wanted to jump into the inspect screen for the crossbow, because you can take a really nice look at the model and not have the scope on there to block some of it. I really like it. Obviously, like a lightweight design is what they're going for, and this particular one is for tiers 2 to 5. The other one, as I understand it, is 2 to 6, so it's going to be more powerful. That may actually be a little bit of why when we fire this one it seems kind of slow. I kind of wonder if the other one will be faster. We'll find that out potentially tomorrow when we can get our hands on it in the live release, but for now, we'll just work with this one, which is nice because everyone should have access to it. Well, I guess a 5-star wild duck is a thing. We're going to try to get that with the 30-06. But I mean, 5-star on Aurora Shores, that's one way to do it. I did not expect that, of all things. We had that 4-star elk. I thought maybe at some stage that might get to 5 stars during this early access period. When we rest back to morning, if that remains a 4-star, we're actually going to kill that today, because we're not going to see another aging cycle. I'm not 100% certain if one has taken place on this map, so I wanted to wait. But, yeah. I guess flesh hit just right through the wings there. We've got our first Aurora Shores 5-star, a 96% mallard, 3.73 pounds, and a score of 489. Guess we're going to have to use a few more credits to tax that, but that's kind of cool. Now, I mentioned in the video earlier today, caribou are the one species we've actually shot a lot of with the crossbow, so I feel pretty good about our odds to do this, even if it is a frontal shot. But I do want to be able to get to 10 animals harvested that were being called in, and I was wondering about something like that. And I don't think it's gonna work. I was considering like 4 moose and stuff. Maybe trying to let the call expire to be able to get a broadside shot, but it happens so fast. I just don't think that's gonna work. But if we want to unlock these second tier calls and be able to call in that 4-star, potentially 5-star elk if he ages, we need to harvest 10 of them. Even if it just ends up being caribou and Sitka deer, we're going to have to find a way to do that. But apparently, frontal shots it'll be unless we can get another situation like the moose from the earlier video, approaching 33 there, so I think we can probably go for that. We'll even just let him get a little closer. We'll stay 0 at 427, and maybe once he gets to like right in here, we'll kind of go for that same thing, try to tuck it right along the shoulder. I can't tell what he's doing. Oh! Finally! I've been waiting to see if that would happen. So first of all, it still spooks the rest of the herd, even if you drop them, which is good to know. But that heart shot with a crossbow looks incredible. Look at the blood all over the brush, too. That was pretty sweet. So is that actually what happened before I go too far? It was. Which is good to know. It's essentially what we talked about with the Sitka deer. If you're level with them, and you place the shot just right, you can hit the heart and insta-drop them. That's actually pretty cool. Unfortunately, we can't really call this thing. I don't have a predator caller currently equipped, but that is within the 55-yard zero range. So, I mean, why not see what happens if you shoot a fox with a crossbow? That's kind of cool. There was, like, a delayed impact sound as that bolt, like, as it flew through the air and then finally impacted the fox. Kind of cool to hear that. There is that herd of bison over there, but I just don't think we're going to be able to get within crossbow range. So I think we'll ignore them and continue looking for species we can call in, but that's kind of neat. It was like ducking to run, I think. And we ended up taking it right through the top of the lung. Let's see if we can see that a little bit better. It's hard to tell, but it looks like it's just beginning to kind of take off. So lucked out there, but 55 yards, if it's at that zero range, it's accurate if you can get a fox's vitals. So in the interest of trying to make sure this video comes out on time, I went ahead and rested back to morning a little bit sooner than I otherwise would. And as you can see, we've got a cow moose coming into this call, so we're about to find out just how good the crossbow can do. Now keep in mind again, this crossbow is for animal tiers 2 to 5, and the moose are a tier 6, so frankly, if we can bring it down at all, I'd say that's kind of exceeding expectations, especially when we're kind of stuck going for a frontal shot, and like the entire head of the moose is kind of in the way. So I don't know where we're going to go for this. I'm interested to find out why those animals are alerted up there. Luckily the moose is not. She's about 30 yards. So I guess we're going to try this. We're going to have to try to slope it into a lung. That would be perfect if we can just zero this down, maybe? It looks good. She seems like she's hit well. She just crashed right there. It may have been a hard shot. Shooting that fox almost cost us big time, because trying to speed zero that down to 22 or whatever we got it to was a little tough. We still need a couple more collared animals, so if we can just get the caribou coming in, that would be great, but man, I thought we were in for, potentially a long track. Kind of like if you guys remember the video where we shot a couple elk with the 350. We were going for hard shots and actually hitting the artery. The 350 round couldn't reach the heart. I thought we were going to get that. Instead, it ran maybe 25 yards and died. And as for the actual impact, yeah, right in the heart. That is pretty solid, and you can only expect the other crossbow is going to be able to do even better. Now, it's not like it hit the heart by a lot. Maybe... I actually got about a third of the way in. That's not terrible. Still going to make 135 credits for getting that cow moose. And I think we need 2 more animals called in and sold to be able to get that perk. And we'll try to be a little more prepared this time, because we just about let that cow moose get away. We're actually calling it a Sitka buck too, but I think regardless we're going to end up spooking him, because we can't let the caribou come all the way in anyway. He's at about 30, so let's go 0 for 27 this time. We can attempt a heart shot again, I just want to make sure he gets in far enough that we don't hit low. So probably in here we can try it. And I don't know for sure if that hit the heart, because it seems like it went a little right, and the wind is blowing about 30 feet per second to the right, so that makes sense. Even, at that range, compensating for the wind could be a little bit challenging, but ends up not just being a left lung hit. So why did that end up as an insta-kill, I wonder? Because we've made basically that exact same shot several times. Kinda interesting, maybe it was the range, he was only 23 yards away. But another really low genetic potential male, and that should have us at 9 out of 10 to unlock these second tier calls, and that's all we need to potentially bring in the elk. And we may even be able to do that a little bit sooner than expected. Got a couple of moose out here, including a few more cows, so maybe if we just go ahead and hit that call, if we can get them to turn back around, maybe like right around the road somewhere would be a good spot to set up. And I would probably say we kind of want the same type of scenario. So 30 yards or less ideally. And if she'll kind of lift her head or just do something to give us an easier shot into the chest cavity, that's going to be ideal. So let's stay zeroed for 33 for now. I'm guessing the middle of the road is probably around 30. But it's tough to get like any shot window there. Maybe that. Man, that was really close to hitting her in the head. I think that is a vital hit. It looks to be, yeah, she's stumbling. We must have been millimeters from that being a jaw shot. But that really kind of shows the difference. It ran, in total, we were right down there by the road. Right about 200 yards, because it wasn't like it ran a straight line. But not too bad, considering that was, not even the better crossbow. That was... wait. Probably one that we shot on stream or something at some point. I don't really recall going for that shot. I'm guessing that would have been the case, so maybe that helped a little bit. I don't think so, because that actually did a lot of damage to the right lung, but it was a left lung hit that ended up being a lethal hit, so that kind of takes the wind out of the sails a little bit as to what actually occurred there with this particular shot. But even still, oh, we did. This right here, we just clipped like the bottom of the jaw on the way into the lungs. I'm glad that doesn't just stop the bolt, immediately. Not too bad. So does that actually count? It may not, because we hit it one time before. It did give us the perk. So we now, once we fast travel, should be able to use the second tier calls. So it would figure on the day that we unlock the calls to actually bring that bull elk in, he and his herd are nowhere to be found. I checked the entire creek, and I don't know if we've shot too many animals in the area or if they're just at a different zone today, but I can't locate them. So the best thing I can think of to do is maybe try to take a bull moose. Now, I don't know. A 2-star mature may be under 50%, but I kinda doubt it. And therefore, I'm not certain if we can bring him in. The calls we unlock with the moose now are low fitness, so we can try. I think it's actually got him coming in, so we'll keep on working the call, and at least maybe we can make some use of the time we spent to unlock these calls today. And I've gotta say, just the difference between calling in the cows earlier and seeing that coming through the grass, that is pretty cool. We're at 45-ish yards now. I think if we can just kind of do that same thing, wait for him to lift his head, we should be okay. Let's take the 0 down to 33, and just hopefully he'll kind of do that. He's got to be right around 30 now. That's what we're looking for. That looks like it's stuck right in a lung. I really hope that's going to get him. He's starting to stumble. That is so cool. I thought he was going to end up running off. It looked like it wasn't going to work, but we didn't get our 4-star elk. But we just called in a bull moose and shot it with a crossbow. That is pretty sweet. He is covering ground, but he's going to go down out there about 300 yards away. I don't think the shot was as good. I'd be interested to see why. And maybe just bulls are a little bit tougher than cows, because I think we kind of buried that right in the same place as the second cow we shot, right up against the shoulder. But we couldn't have asked for much better than that. I would have loved to have brought in that 4-star elk. I just don't know where he is today. And at the end of the day, we killed the 5-star duck. Any did that moose just spawn there and run away? I know that cow was there, but it was like it appeared. Anyway, nothing big that we kill really matters at the end of the day anyway. When the map releases tomorrow, I'll be starting over just like everybody else that's buying the game. So whether we kill a forest elk and throw it in the lodge or not, it would be gone for tomorrow. And frankly, that was pretty neat. I'm glad that we ended up with a moose. Just an old bull as well. I mean, he's super gray. Compared to like the adults that are almost black in color. And you see that bolt sticking out right kind of inside the shoulder blade. That is essentially the shot I was wanting to go for. And that's right about where it hit. Just kind of inside. Got, I guess, just below the artery. And it was a right lung hit. So, according to that, it's basically 90% cavity damage that brought him down. Which probably explains the distance he ran. 43% though, that's really all we could have done with the calls that we have unlocked. This hunt went like almost exactly the opposite how I would have expected. The only really big thing we shot in the end was the duck. But we got a moose. We ended up at least unlocking the calls, not that that matters now going forward, but pretty cool. I think that's going to be the last thing we do out here on Aurora Shores until the map releases tomorrow, so just a huge thank you to THQ Nordic for the opportunity. I've had way too much fun out here. I've barely put the thing down since we got a hold of it yesterday afternoon, and I can't wait to basically start all over again, and in this case, with all of the money, weapons, and everything that we have from the main save, it's going to be an absolute blast. But on that note, that is going to do it for this video, so as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.